Welcome to the Creator Focused podcast, where we hear the stories of those whose creative home is YouTube. Today, we hear from Nogla, an Irish gaming YouTuber who currently sits at just under 7.5 million subscribers. We will talk about what led him to start posting on YouTube, lessons he's learned along the way, as well as a view into his workflow, posting 13 videos a week across 5 channels. All of this while playing Uno and talking about quite a bit more. All in this episode of Uno Mas.
So sorry, no, I do have a cough. I mean,
you're good.
I've had an annoying cough for a few weeks, but
gotcha.
What's your first question?
Yeah,
that's how we know each other. We know each other through Diesel, and we were chilling yesterday, doing some reaction kind of content, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
and here we are now doing this.
Yeah, and first off, thanks for guesting on it and being willing to record. I think that I'm super excited.
You're paying me $1,000 per an hour. It's all good, dude.
Ooh, I didn't realize that, but might be able to. I don't know. I don't know about it.
I believe in you, dude. I believe in you. Thank you very much. Oh, you don't have I was clicking the +2 to jump in.
Oh, the jump in.
You don't have stacking.
No, I can enable
vanilla,
that.
Just like vanilla Uno. That's fine.
Wait a minute. I thought I enabled that, but I guess I didn't.
No, I like it. It's a different change of pace. It's more chill.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
With that being said, bro, what's the first question?
Right, the first ones that I listed out were just kind of some simple, like, get to know you kind of things, like I don't know, hobbies.
So what do I think of 9/11, stuff like that?
Yeah, is your hobby watching 9/11 footage? No, but what do you like to do for fun? I know often with different channels that I've seen that like have made a living out of doing gaming content. It's like, for example, like my hobby would be video games, but like that kind of loses its appeal as a hobby. I didn't know if that was the case for you or what you like to do for fun.
I still like playing video games, but I find that because of how much I play video games for my job, I don't like playing video games outside of my job that much.
Yeah.
It's a time constraint thing more than anything.
Yeah, that's good.
Sorry. And so the main thing that kind of interests me outside of YouTube would be UFC. So I watched some UFC last night, UFC 283. I watched the whole card till 6 a.m. Regretted it massively. But I do genuinely really like it. I do enjoy it, and it's probably the thing that's most different to what I'm known for, which is like video games. I mean, goofy and whatever.
Yeah.
So UFC, I like UFC a lot.
Cool. Okay.
Short answer.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I never really got too big into that myself.
It's like you either love it or you hate it. It's one of those things.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm not that polar like on either end, but like I don't know. I just never really, I guess, got into it. But like watching it at all, and I don't watch a ton of like I don't know, like sports or anything that I try to keep up on. Like I just don't. So
that's fair. That's fair.
What kind of music you listen to?
Music. Oh, okay.
Do that.
I would say, damn, got +4. All right, I'll just decline the challenge on this because I think you have I think you could have played a different card, but you decided to play a +4, and I don't want to get more cards. But
I actually
my music,
couldn't have played
I do have
else,
I do have like the Discover Weekly on Spotify, that I do, and I might pick up a few good songs there. I'm trying to like be more strict with the music I listen to. I would just listen. I generally before would listen to, what is this? All right, whatever. I'll just accept it. But I used to just listen to music that would sound good, but now I'm more thinking about the music that I'm listening to and kind of what the lyrics are.
Sure.
And so it's interesting how that's like I try and listen to music that reflects what I want in my life. So let's say I give an example. I give a very obvious example. Let's say I want to be happy. I'm not going to listen to depressing music. Right? That would be a very obvious. I used to do that a lot when I was younger, like in my very young 20s. I used to listen to sad music all the time and kind of wallow in self-pity and stuff like that. And so I try not to do that now.
Okay.
That would be a very simple example, but there's other examples such as lyrics that are very like sexually provocative in terms of in terms of like seeking a woman and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Kind of like, I guess you would call it like kind of single music. Like it's like, I don't know. Like that's kind of like how I interpret it now. But before I would just listen to it and blah, blah, blah. And it's all, you know, some songs might be about meeting a girl, or some songs might be like you're heartbroken over a girl and stuff like that. And it never really clicked to me that it could be kind of like, I'm not like, it's not so much like you can't listen to that stuff. Like I can't listen to it. It's more like I'm starting to, they're lucky.
Man.
It's more like I'm starting to see the benefits mentally of kind of honing in on what's like being consumed by my brain.
Sure, kind of like more intentional about what you're listening to because of the effect it could have on you.
It's just be more aware of like how many subliminal things go into your brain subconsciously, and then in like kind of direct the way you feel and move towards stuff. Because like, you know, club music is generally used to get people to move and dance. So there is a psychology to music. Yeah. You know, classical music will have a different effect. Like music has an effect on people, and so the lyrics within it. So I'm just kind of like, that's one thing that I've done recently with music, and it's kind of moved me more towards listening to music that is more like thought provocative, peaceful, like, and then like Christian music. But I don't like a lot of Christian music, so I'm actually listening to some Kanye West Christian music. Funnily enough. Like, I don't agree with everything he's doing, but out of Christian music goes, it's the stuff that I dislike the least. I don't like the super like mega church, Christian music. I just find it a little bit like, you know, very tedious and generic. Whether it's kind of like that, so that's it's more of that really than anything. So that's something I've listened to as well.
Yeah, I get that with Christian music because like I really like the, you know, obviously the message behind it and what they're singing about, but it does kind of just to a point just sound all the freaking same.
It gets boring fast. Yeah, that's just what it is. It's like, no offense, it sounds nice and everything, but it just gets boring fast.
Yeah,
I need more variety in my brain.
Yeah,
I'll get bored with the same thing over and over again. Even though I've played tons of Uno, I don't play it every day.
Yeah, well, that's an outlier.
Might play it once a month. yeah. Exception to the rule doesn't disprove the rule.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. That's a big answer, but music does mean a lot to me. Like I've written songs. I've done singing, guitar, stuff like that. But you know, I've kind of pulled back a lot on that stuff because I just want to focus on other aspects of my life.
Gotcha.
Rather than making music.
Yeah. No, that I like that answer a lot. Kind of because it is a deeper like approach to it. You know, you're more intentional about what you're consuming because of the effect that, whether, you know, subconsciously, subliminally, whatever it may have, you know, instead of just, like, this sounds good, you know.
If someone were to listen to Cardi B for 100 hours straight, it would be considered a Chinese torture method.
I feel like they'd kill themselves after 50. I mean, I would after one.
You get what I mean. You get what I mean.
Oh God.
So now I personally like listening to music that has just no lyrics and it's really peaceful and chill, but also kind of like not lo-fi, but kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just random stuff I find, and I listen to it over and over again. And I like the no lyrics because it allows my brain to think. Because I mainly listen to music in the car. I don't really listen to music like when I'm walking around. I'd say the two main times I listen to music is the car and cleaning.
Yeah.
Other than that, don't listen to music really.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say probably same. It's when I'm in the car or doing house stuff, you know, folding laundry or something. I don't know, whatever it may be.
Yep.
But yeah.
A long answer for the music there.
No, it's fine.
The hobby one.
I really appreciate that answer. I like that a lot. It's not the stereotypical like, you know, what's your favorite music? I don't really. It's a little bit of everything, you know. Or whatever.
You know, but it is a bit of that.
Yeah.
All right, boom.
How about, do you have a favorite movie at the moment?
Oh, I love movies. I actually really do love. I'm a bit of a movie snob.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like I fit into two different categories of movies. Either I have to go see a movie that I know is good because I don't want to waste my time. So I am a bit of like, I'm going to check the reviews before I go watch kind of guy.
Yeah.
And the second part is I do like watching really bad movies that try to be really good. Now, not bad movies that know they're bad and they're going to be bad and all that. No, I like bad movies that are trying to be good because it's just, there's something fascinating about trying to understand why they made lots of decisions in the movie.
Yeah. Did you follow Weasel Batches, Diesel's second thing where he was talking about movies?
I haven't because I don't really, I like a lot of movie content on YouTube is just very long.
No,
it's just very long.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Sure.
But me and my fiance, we love going to movies together. There's been a bit of a drought with movies in the past, like honestly 2 months.
Yeah.
If you weren't into Avatar, there probably wasn't much else going around.
Yeah.
There's some other ones as well that just not really my style.
Yeah.
There was one movie I do want to watch, The Menu. I do want to watch that.
And
then there's like other movies that are kind of coming up that I do really want to watch as well. But me and Aaliyah, that's kind of like one of the main things we go on dates is movie dates. We just love it. It's kind of something that we started with and we kind of kept with, and it's always like there's going to be a movie out next month, Knock at the Cabin, and it's kind of like a horror thriller mystery movie, and I'll probably check that out too.
Yeah, I think it was Friday night. My wife and I, and then also my mother-in-law went and saw one, and that was a preview. Not quite sure how I feel about it, like, because I'm not sure. I don't usually.
Well, the main thing is like
horror movies anyway, but
main thing I'm worried about is Dave Bautista is in it, and then that could make it like almost like too child friendly. Because whenever you see that guy, it's all very like PG, kind of like movies and stuff. So I just hope they haven't PG'd it down and it's got some genuine kind of shock value. But producers are M. Night Shyamalan, so it should be pretty good.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if it is absolutely dog. But if it is, then I just won't go watch it.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest. But there was other movies that were like really fun. I watched like that had bad ratings, but I enjoyed. Like a movie just popped up right now, Old. It was about like people that were rich people that got basically like to a holiday place and on a beach and they grow old really fast. So like the baby that was born, spoiler alert, died like straight away from neglect because of how fast time goes.
Yeah, I remember seeing previews of that one. That one I didn't see. It was a good concept. Looked good.
Like sometimes I feel like some movies, they can be bad movies but have a really interesting good concept, and that can kind of like help you out a lot to get through it. Interesting. That's
wait. Quick pause. I don't want to interrupt you, but what happens if you challenge it? Because I don't know if I've ever actually recognized what that does.
Well, I think the whole point of challenging it is like to say you don't have a color of the same color of the card, but since you had a +4 and you made it green, it made you have what you did have. It worked. So I don't know. I don't know. It's I to be honest, I don't play with that rule quite often, so it's a little confusing still.
Yeah, I thought it was the I don't know if it's one.
It's called bluffing. I turn that shit off.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I turn it off.
But anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my answer for the movie question.
Okay. Now you did say this is the last one.
Click Uno, my guy.
What?
You've got to click Uno.
I was
bottom right.
I looked to my other monitor and I'm reading the next question and then completely freaking missed it. But
strategic.
Yeah. But anyway, you did say that you weren't like you felt like movie review channels were just kind of more or less a waste of time to kind of.
I don't think they're a waste of time. I think, for me personally, they're not worth it because, again, I don't have time to sit through an hour like breakdown. I usually understand the movie by the time I've finished watching it.
Yeah, you'd prefer to watch the movie instead of add more layers onto the.
Yeah. I don't get fanatically into any movie series at all, ever.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. But with that, are there any creators on YouTube that you are really watching at the moment and like, or I don't know, anything like that?
I'll tell you now. I will tell you now. I'll have a quick look. Funnily enough, I've kind of gotten into Moist Critical a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was always in my sub box, but I never watched him. And I was just giving him a couple of listening, and I'm like, this is kind of good background kind of stuff.
Yeah, I really like with him. I really like his format because, like, I've researched a ton about like trying to better edit my videos, better market them on YouTube, and all this stuff. And he just continues to be the outlier because he just clicks record, does whatever, and like uploads, and it's still working. I don't get it.
I prefer the videos of his where it's like. Sorry to interrupt. I prefer the video of his where it's him kind of. I didn't need to pick up that card. Where it's him just sitting and talking to the audience and then inserting a few clips to kind of just help explain what he's talking about. I prefer those over the ones where he just talks a little bit at the start, plays like a bunch of Twitch clips of him, reacting, and then kind of like I get bored of those ones. I don't know what it is. I just like the full screen kind of face cam.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I kind of like that too.
Experience
a little more.
But I generally don't watch a ton of YouTubers. I kind of prefer just watching TikTok.
yeah.
TikTok or going like Twitter and stuff like that. So I'm looking, and I like watching like some car stuff on YouTube. That's been like a thing ever since I learned about cars and what's the deal with them in the past like year or so. And so I will check out, there's a new car of this. I wonder what that's like, and blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
But generally speaking, outside of a bit of UFC news, bit of car news, bit of Moist Critical, I'm kind of like not really on YouTube.
Yeah.
Using it to consume content a lot.
Gotcha.
I'm on TikTok and Twitter. Those would be the main ones.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So now moving into actually like your YouTube journey, and your time on being a creator. What kind of like led you to start posting on YouTube? It looks like you had joined in, I think it was 2012.
February of 2012, I think, actually.
I missed the button. But and what but what kind of like maybe inspirations or what path led to you deciding to do that and pursue it?
Okay. Well, YouTube in terms of a career in gaming was fairly like, when I was starting 10 years ago, was fairly niche, to say the least. Gaming wasn't even very fondly looked upon much either. And so it's I guess I got lucky in that there was a smaller kind of spread of information that showed, gaming and YouTube could be a career. So there was less people getting into it. So I got lucky that way in like the time I started. So very blessed that way. So I'm thankful to God for that one big time. But essentially what happened was I went into school like anybody else, and in Ireland we have primary school and then we have secondary school. And then in secondary school, you finish that at around 18 and then you go into college. And college is like 4 or 5 years, maybe do a master's, another year or two. And so I did my secondary school, completed it, and you have what's called your leaving cert. And it's like the finals, like it's the big final exams that really make all the deciding factor of whether or not you get into college. And I had a few things written, but they were quite high. To be honest, I kind of knew I wouldn't reach them. But I was like, maybe I will, and then I'll go. But I didn't want to go to college for something that I wasn't going to fully enjoy and feel like it was worth my time.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to do, the only thing that interested me was psychology, but it took 550 points, which is super high. The max you can get is 600. So you can just imagine, like, you've got to get like A's across the board essentially.
Yeah.
And I was not that shooting. I was that when I was like maybe 12, 13, 14, and then it started slipping as the testosterone went up. My brain cells went down, and and so I found myself kind of I got lazy. I got really lazy. Really is what kind of came down to, and then rat finishing on a +4.
Dang.
And
Freaking
and so then I was like, oh, dude, this sucks, dude, man. Consciousness, the awareness of suffering. Oh, dude, this is miserable. Typical teenager, you know.
Yeah.
And so then I finished it. I did better in Terrorizer, so that's what matters. I got like 300 and like maybe 50 points. Terrorizer got like 315 or 20, and I think he was kind of in the same boat as me. We both really didn't try. But you know, I got through, and I got through good enough, and I was fine with that. And but I didn't get into college anywhere. So how it works in Ireland is you write down in the summertime what you want and how many points they are, and you put it in order of importance.
Okay.
And so basically everything that I wrote in, it was only maybe 2 or 3 things. I didn't get enough points to get into the class, to the college. And so it was basically, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back, repeat the whole year with a bunch of new people and all this other stuff, and then try and get the points for something that I'm not that passionate about?
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? Nah, forget that. I'm going to stay at home. So over the course of the summer, I kind of knew I was coming up. I knew I wasn't going to get enough points, because it takes them, for some reason, it takes them 3 months to grade your test.
Jeez, 3 months.
Yeah, so you do your test in like May, and you'll get your results in August. It's actually kind of stupid. But it takes 3 months. You don't know if you even get into college and what college you're in. All this, it was a mess. It was so stupid. I don't know. But I guess I'm not the only lazy one. But essentially, over that course of the summer, I was thinking about what to do with my life and whatnot. And but I was also playing a lot of video games, because I had a lot of freedom finally. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to play a lot of video games. I have all this freedom. I'm going to play video games as much as I like. It's what I like the most. And my parents were fairly, understanding, and just kind of left me. I come from a big family. I'm a triplet, so I have a brother and sister, and then I've like 3 other siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, 6 children. So it's like, if one of the kids are playing a lot of video games, that's just, one more person that's not going to cause problems. So they weren't too fussed. And it was starting off during those 3 months, I mainly just played video games and got to know people. I stayed up very late, and I stayed up very, very late. And because of that, I met with a lot of Americans. And because no one in Ireland was awake to play video games, and the UK, so I'd play with Americans. And it was really fun. It's actually what kind of diluted my accent from a kind of heavy Irish accent to a more of like American Irish accent. Yeah, because I played with Americans and talked with them and listened to them so much that it actually adjusted my my accent a lot. And so I came across a couple of people. One of them, I think it was like UCOG Monkey or something like that. I can't remember the exact name, but there was one person. There was a couple of other people in there too. But there was one person named Soldier Gaming, and I can find his YouTube channel now and even see the videos, and I think I comment on them too, so I can see those as well. And he kind of was doing YouTube. Yeah, he was a friend, and he was like, "Oh, I uploaded a video," and I'm like, "What do you mean you uploaded a video?" I uploaded a video of some gameplay, and I remember having a conversation. I remember exactly what I was doing when I was having a conversation with him. I was in Modern Warfare 2. And I was in the map that's really, really grassy, and it has the bridge, and then it has like the bridge in the middle. That's a really short bridge, and then it has like the 2 buildings at one end, and it's got like a few small buildings at the other end, and then the sides are kind of like rivers and valleys, and they kind of go up and down a bit. And I even remember the room I was in. I remember the room I was in the far. If you were to look at the map on a flat piece, I was in like the top right, I guess you could say, from how I'm like perceiving it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it very vividly. I remember the gun I had was like, I think it was the model. It was like, and I was just running around. And then when he was talking to me about this YouTube stuff, I just stopped completely and started camping and thinking about everything he was saying. Like, and I was like, okay, and then there's this, and what about this, and then there's that. So it was kind of something that once I heard that it was even possible, because at this point I didn't know it was even possible. I didn't even know people posted on YouTube them playing video games.
Yeah, because like 2012, I mean, it's still pretty early in YouTube's.
Yeah, it was pretty early, but I wasn't even on YouTube. I literally just played video games. I barely went on my phone, and I would just play video games and talk with people, and that was it. So it was something that I heard, and I was like, okay, now that I think about this is all right. I was looking for something that would be interesting to me, and this is interesting. And so I asked him questions. I learned from him, and what kind of equipment and stuff like that. And he didn't tell me how to set this stuff up. He's just like, oh, I got this, and oh, I got that, and blah 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 blah. And I was like, I didn't have a laptop or a computer. Like I didn't have anything. I just had an Xbox, and I think Xbox 360, right? So it was the one back then.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a good Xbox 360. It would like overheat, and I'd get the red ring of death and everything, and then I'd have to turn it off for like 10 minutes and then come back on, and I get to play it for maybe half an hour.
Jeez.
So yeah, it was the red ring of death was brutal, bro. And so that was my summer. And then once I realized that I wasn't going into college anywhere, I got my results back, and I was like, okay, I'm relieved. This was funny. I'm relieved because I didn't fail any of my classes. Because if you fail a class, you kind of have to repeat the year. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad I didn't fail any classes because I don't want to repeat my year. And then I saw that I didn't get into anything, and I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, it would be nice to kind of get out of the home, get a place, and have kind of go out into the world. I was a very sheltered kid, so going out and exploring things in life and kind of like being more normal, socially at least, was very like intriguing to me. It was like something that I was like, oh yeah, this is something I would love. Yeah. But I kind of sacrificed all of that for YouTube. I sacrificed a lot of my young 20s for that, for the kind of, just the aspiration, really. Like it was, the decision was, do I want to go to college like everybody else, have a great time, do my study, get whatever, do what I need to do. And the social aspect of college was something that, again, like I'm repeating myself a bit here, but it was definitely something I really was like, oh, I'd love to do this. Like this would be so much fun.
Yeah.
But it never materialized, and I didn't get into college, so I took that first year and I went on what's called the dole, which is like you're unemployed and you're looking for employment, essentially. And during that time, you're given a little bit of money from the government. It's very, very little.
Okay.
But what I did is, I saved that money up, and I bought a laptop for a couple of $100. I bought the equipment that I needed, and then I was able to record, Call of Duty footage. Like that was it. My goal was just like, get the bare minimum equipment so that I can record something. Yeah. And I definitely was working from the bare minimum. The laptop didn't have a graphics card. My internet was 0.01 upload. It was like something insanely slow. It would take me a 300 megabyte file. I think it was 0.1. I think might have actually been in. It would take me a 300 megabyte file would take probably 3 to 4 hours. Whoa. But because my internet was used by other people, it would take 6 hours. So I wouldn't be able to upload videos longer than 3 minutes. It wasn't possible because my internet was too bad. And so that's kind of like how I started. I started off making like Call of Duty funny videos that were a few minutes long on a laptop that would be really hot with no graphics card and a torrented Sony Vegas. So it was really scuffed, like super scuffed. Yeah. Like absolute junk start essentially compared to what I have now, like fast internet, fast computer, fast everything. Oh my, like it's. I remember how mind blown I was when I got my first desktop. I was like, this is so fast. This is insane. This is. It would take me an hour to render each minute of video, even though there's like not that much editing, and then an hour to upload each minute. So it's like. From the time of me actually finishing editing, which I would wake up and I would edit for like, I don't know, 9 hours straight and then record for like 6 hours and just, that was it. Like I would just record, edit, record, edit, record, edit. I wouldn't even think about eating food. My mother would have to come in and bring food and be like, you have to eat. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thank you. I forgot. So I had this huge amount of time and massively obsessed with no distractions, no friends, no girlfriend, no phone, just video games, just a laptop, just the friends that I was playing with, and that was my life. I didn't clean nothing, I didn't eat, prepare nothing. That was my life for like a year straight, at least a year straight. So
sorry, go.
That's how I got into it. That's how that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. Wow. What, like that early footage, that stuff that you got the bare minimum just to be able to edit something, like what kind of content was that?
To be specific, it was like Ninja Diffuse montages.
Okay. So just kind of
and
montages.
then kind of troll content as well. So like me talking and messing with people online, kind of aggravating them and annoying them. But I wouldn't choose people that were nice. I would be nice to people that were nice, and I would be a asshole to people that were assholes.
Well, they're asking for it. I mean, you can't really resist
there would be a litmus test before I would with someone. I would usually wait until they were mean to me first before I'd be mean to them.
Yeah.
And me being mean would be more like psychologically with them. So like one common thing that would trigger a lot of women online was you won't get a man without manners. That's why the word has man in it.
So
and a lot of women got mad at that
and say it when you're
so whenever a woman is mad or get aggravated or upset at me, I'd be like, you won't get a man without manners. You do know that, right? And then the usual response is, I don't need a man. I don't need a man.
That's great.
So that's that was it.
Gotcha.
And that video actually kind of popped off. Let me try and find it.
Sure. Is that one that's... It looked
channel
like...
called Video Games uploaded it, and it did very, very well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like a lot of the earlier stuff, I think you either privated or something, occurred.
Yeah, there's one 9 years ago, Angry Girl Gamer versus Dahi de Nogla on Xbox Live. This shit is a gem, bro. It is a gem. 9 years ago, it got 4 million views.
Oh,
so
wow. Is that a
was a lot
re-upload?
9 years ago. Yeah, so they basically just took my video and uploaded it to their channel.
Gotcha.
And gave credit. And then I got nothing from it. Which, looking back now, you think, oh, I'm getting promotion. But at the other side of the coin, it's kind of like a Ponzi scheme.
Oh, yeah.
It's like machinima vulture, which loads of people would get away with back then, but kind of they're looked down upon now and kind of frowned upon, and like, you're a scum of the earth, you know that. Promotion isn't payment, you scumbag. So yeah, that's I linked it there anyway. If you ever get bored in your free time, feel free to look at that, because I edited that video and I even put a watermark on the top right and everything because I thought it was the bee's knees. But that's the type of content.
Gotcha.
Trolling, ninja stuff.
Yeah,
my first ever video, I think, might have been a Pokemon Let's Play with my brother.
Oh. Now
and
around
I wish I had it because we were fighting it and it was so funny.
Yeah. Around that time, it seemed like that kind of content was a little more prevalent. It's like you got the kind
now
of
you can't upload it because it'll just get age restricted, limited ads, and it'll be considered harassment and all this shit.
Yeah.
Even though, to be honest, Wildcat uploads a lot of trash talking in Call of Duty. So,
like,
I don't
still?
know. Me, huh?
Like, still?
Oh, yeah, he uploads but it's not like the title of the video. It's more like sprinkled in all of the videos where he's talking shit to people and they're talking shit to him. So for me, I feel like I could do it again. Like I call it Nogla noise, and essentially, you know, Terrorizer likes to call me Kevin copycat and stuff like that. And I did like Call Me Kevin back then, and I was like, yo, this shit's fun. I want to give it a try. So, you know, and put my own spin on it, but it's kind of funny how that materializes. Even back then, 10 years ago, it was difficult to do a lot of original style content. You would just do what people did, but better. Essentially, would be the hope.
Yeah.
Like it's not much different these days.
Yeah. What? Maybe this. I don't think it's too much of a sidestep, but like, what was your first kind of like setup like microphone? You know, like what kind of stuff did you use to?
I don't know. Well, it was a USB microphone.
Okay.
I know that, and it was in my bedroom.
Okay.
In my home, my parents' home.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't like the TV. I don't even like. I think I have a really old photo of the upgraded version on Instagram, and I'm gonna have a quick look.
Okay.
But I just have to do a little bit of scrolling. But
yeah, no worries.
Essentially, it was crazy scuffed. It was like, here, Asmongold, review my setup, and then Asmongold will on it for like 10 minutes straight. It was that kind of like garbage.
Well, at least you had
I had to get a stand for my laptop that allowed the heat that was coming out of the bottom of the laptop, which was causing it to overheat and kind of like have problems and become too hot. I had to get a stand to stand it on just so it wouldn't overheat.
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah,
that gives you an idea of how it was.
Sure. It doesn't sound too bad. There was actually it was the first guest on this. I've only had a couple episodes of this thing. But the first one I asked that question, and I think it's fun to ask like what the first setup was, because I feel like no matter how far you've come, your first setup was pretty janky as shit, you know? Like his
100%.
Because like the majority of them in his was freaking aiming his iPad at his TV, you know? Which that's a little later down the line and stuff, but like it's just like mine was
the iPad at TV. Well, for me, I guess I was never stupid enough to do that because I'll be honest with you, I knew there had to be a bare minimum quality requirement for anyone to take my content seriously.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking of starting YouTube with an iPad, don't save up and get something that you can do the bare minimum visual and audio quality. Do not start with an iPad. I don't care how poor you are. Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now,
I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but that's just
there definitely has to be like, because having the top of the line equipment doesn't really like you don't necessarily need that, but like there's got to be
the quality of your equipment doesn't increase the quality of your product,
right? And in the end, like even if it's like a lower quality, not quite iPad aimed at the TV kind of quality, but like as long as there's content there, like and it's entertaining enough, like that kind of makes up for some of it, but like, I mean,
you can only go so far. You can only go so far with the scuff stuff. You need bare minimum kind of quality. Yeah, I saw. I just threw in the chat there like a really old post rendering Minecraft for tomorrow. So I made a Minecraft video apparently in the 11th of June 2013. So yeah, I can't.
I'm pulling it up and looking.
Yeah, I can't believe I actually did that.
Yeah.
So, and you can see there's very little editing. It's just like a little bit of an intro song that I made.
Sure. That
I wrote on guitar and sung and then cut up the clips. And then the rest of it is just literally music and the game. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then an outro. So very, very little. Very, very little. And then it was, I don't know how long, but
yeah.
That was it, and it's so funny, dude. The Instagram, it's crazy looking back.
Yeah, we had just when we started, because I had started it with a buddy, like I said, where it was just kind of like some couch co-op kind of gaming stuff. And funny enough, it was actually like throughout high school, like me and this friend watched like you and the surrounding channels, you know, that had all kind of done content together. That and then there's another one called Game Grumps.
Game Grumps, yeah. Me and Brian
Yeah.
are releasing a Let's Play channel that'll be very much like Game Grumps
Sure.
kind of Let's Play, but with face cam.
Gotcha.
We're,
Yeah,
we're
that
pretty
one.
excited about it, actually.
Yeah, we had kind of like adopted the style from that channel, but then started doing that. And we just had a old USB Rock Band mic laying around, and we got some cheap kind of pass through capture that worked, but
Yeah.
eventually we're like, we should buy a new mic, and so we looked into it. It ended up being complete dog crap. Like it was it just sounded so bad, but we kept the little pop filter for it, the foam that goes over it,
Right,
because it was just
right.
this bright red, and so it just looked goofy, so we kept it, and then it ended up earning the nickname Elmo's Chode, and so we just we're dumb. But yeah, what setup do you currently have, as far as mic and stuff? I assume probably a pretty
It's a
hefty
lot better.
PC.
I have like a Newman. I have like a Newman mic, which it's like a couple $100, but you don't really need anything even close to this good. You can get there's a lot of very solid XLR mics for 150, 200.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you've got some interface of some kind,
Yeah.
you could. There's even solid mics. Honestly, the mic isn't hugely important anymore
Mhm.
because mic qualities have increased so much. It's
Yeah.
more about the way you use the mic. And
Plus-
are you in a big room with a lot of echo? Well, it doesn't
right.
matter what mic you've got. It's not going to sound great. Yeah, it's more of the conditions around the microphone, how you're using the microphone, that will bring out fairly solid sound. Some people I know, they've been doing YouTube for years, a decade as well, and they have their mics by their monitor, and they sound like they're in another room. And I'm like, how have you been doing YouTube for 10 years and you've a dog shit mic?
Yeah.
But anyways, I got my first Elgato on June 13th, 2013. Do you remember the old Game Capture HD Elgato, the first ever one they released?
Yeah.
It was like HDMI, and I'm like, this is just mind blowing. This is mind blowing. Oh wait, hold on. I actually have a better picture of my setup.
Oh, all right.
1 second.
Okay.
This is a much better picture of the setup, and you can pop this. You can pop this into the video if you wish.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
This
and
color.
on top of that, with mic quality, it's like most people watching YouTube are watching it in less than ideal conditions anyway. So it's not like they're going to be able to hear too much of a difference. So going all out on, on something in the end doesn't necessarily pay off or anything. Oh, I see how you have the laptop raised up and stuff. That's
Yeah. I told you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, though. So I kind of wanted to do something else where the past couple ones, they haven't been terribly large channels and haven't really been around for too long. So it was easy enough to go back and kind of look at a surface level kind of overview of the channel and see kind of the progression of it. But overall, I feel like maybe it'd be more beneficial
No way. Sorry.
to have you maybe walk through the stages of your channel, because the earliest one that's public right now was a bunch of just some GTA funny moments, and then kind of some Gmod mixed in there, and then it just kind of goes on to now. I feel like it's kind
I
of
can give a speed run synopsis.
Nogla
So the
channel
beginning,
speed run.
me playing
Go.
Modern Warfare 2. Beginning is me playing Modern Warfare 2, but kind of learning stuff. Modern Warfare 3 is when I really started kind of making content. And I think after Modern Warfare 3 came out, Black Ops 2 came out. I don't know if that's correct. But it's what's coming up in my mind.
I believe that was a
And
progression
so-
of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me double check. Modern Warfare 3 release.
Okay.
Modern Warfare 3 release date. Gosh, they have so many. Oh yeah, so 2011 was Modern Warfare 3 November. 2012 was Black Ops 2. So yeah, that lines up perfectly. So my content initially started on Modern Warfare 2, and then it moved to Black Ops 2, and then during Black Ops 2, towards the end of it, is when I started interacting a lot more with. I was interacting with Louis a good bit, and I met Louis through Mr. Woofles, and I met Mr. Woofles and the whole there was a group called Passive Aggression, where they would win games of domination on Call of Duty by getting like 0 kills. So they would just keep capturing the flag, and then people were such noobs back then that would actually work. You wouldn't be able to get away with it now. And so I met them through a friend of mine called Big Busy, still a good friend. And I met him through basically meeting him in a game of Modern Warfare 3, and I think I was on the other team, or on the same team, one or the other. Has to be, right? There's no C option, but essentially he liked me, and I was like, hey, you're pretty good at the game and I'm pretty funny, let's play, and he was like, oh, you're actually good at game too. Yeah, I'm like, I just mess around and stuff like that. So he thought I was kind of funny, and he knew a few other YouTubers too. There used to be an old Irish YouTuber named Bread. Now, if anybody knows that name, I would be highly impressed. But old Irish YouTuber named Bread, and so Big Busy was a YouTuber himself. So that was kind of like a stepping stone in terms of like getting more engrossed in the YouTube world. Yeah. And I think like one of my first videos uploaded to YouTube was him using a gameplay of mine. Let me check. Big Busy Nogla. So yeah, he uploaded like a montage of mine like 10 years ago. And he used some like knife footage of mine, because I would go for like dumb stuff. I would go for like really, really dumb stuff. And he was uploading, let's see here. I'm gonna see. He was uploading like really like good gameplay considered for the time, and pulling like a few K views. So he got some good stuff. So 11 years ago he was uploading, and it was all like 38 and 3 TDM, which there's only 75 kills, so that's like a lot of the kills. 30 and 1, blah blah blah. But he was pulling like, I think he got a little boost, and he was pulling like a few K views a video. But to me, that was like, he was a mega star. You know what I mean? This guy's getting thousands of views. What? Yeah. And so he was friends with people called Mr. Woofless and Mac Laffy Taffy, and they created Passive Aggression. And through them I met Louis Caliber and the Hidden Masters. And then through Louis I met like Vanos and Delirious and all of them. Yeah. And that's kind of like, that's the people path, and I've been with the Vanos crew obviously ever since. And the gameplay wise, we're going Modern Warfare 3 into Black Ops 2, and then after Black Ops 2 I think GTA 5 and Gmod were in there, and it's been kind of the same ever since. We do a lot more variety and whatnot, but that would be about the bare bones of it.
Cool. How would you say kind of like your approach to content has evolved? Like how it was starting out? Like I know initially it sounds like it was just kind of like, I'd just do whatever, throw this together so I have something to upload, and it was trolling and whatnot. But then I guess how would you say the journey of just your approach and how you strategize?
For me, I never just threw something together when I was starting off.
Well, I didn't mean it like necessarily like that, but
but no, for me, I thought about everything a lot. I spent a lot of time making decisions, and I listened to the people around me a lot. I listened to people that knew more. So I made a Ninja Diffuse montage. I showed Mr. Woofles, and he just said it was shit. And I thought it was amazing. And I was like, why is it shit? And he told me why it was shit. And instead of getting hurt and offended and all this other stuff, I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, you know this more than I do. You do this more than me. You're obviously doing better. Like, you're right. I'm not going to let, like, me or any hurt feelings get in the way of something that's important to learn. Yeah. So I think that's like super important when you're beginning, and as you actually continue, You have to keep that mindset of I have something to learn from everyone, and if someone's saying something bad about me, it isn't necessarily a reflection of my character or who I am. It's just something that I can do better. So it's
Okay.
So that would be like, that was one of the turning points for me, is when he gave me bad feedback about my videos. It made me think, okay, I actually have to think a lot more about why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Because at that point I was just saying like, oh yeah, that looks good and that looks good and this makes sense and blah 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 blah. But I wasn't really thinking it through. I was more like learning the editing abilities, and then from there applying the editing abilities without truly breaking down where those editing kind of skills can be most effective.
Okay. I didn't realize that you had, like, you were bouncing that off of him, getting feedback and everything.
Well, he was one of them. Him and Louis helped,
Okay.
and there was other people as well. Like, there was other people along the way that gave me, like, shout-outs and help. Like, funnily enough, like, the gaming competitive community at the time with, like, Big Busy, Spasma Dogs, other people like that definitely helped. I think there was a guy called McNasty as well. Not McNasty or something. He's kind of actually, I think he might have been something McNasty anyway. He used to do like, you know, the way you can trap people in spawns.
Oh,
in Call
yeah,
of
I've
Duty.
seen some of them, yeah.
Yeah, so he used to do a lot of like getting Moabs in 40 seconds. Like, just ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of like his shtick.
Gotcha.
And he even gave me a shout out as well. Once I got with Machinima, that was pretty helpful too. And but they did take a big fat chunk of my percentage once I got partnered with them.
Yeah, I've heard
that was just the reality at the time. They were the only option, you know.
Yeah.
They were the only option 10 years ago. If you wanted to be gaming and partnered, it had to be through Machinima, and they would take like nearly up to 50%, I would say.
Yeah, I think it was
money.
I think it was back when you. Oh, it was on the Wildcast when he was doing his podcast. I listened to that, and I remember them talking about Machinima and that being kind of a not great aspect to it. But obviously,
they're
like you said, it was
taking
kind
massive
of
advantage of people.
Yeah, but gotcha. Yeah, maybe it'll be better suited to asking a bit about your approach to content now versus then. But anyway, so I guess, moving along as you have gone through the years, when did you decide to relieve the editing work to someone else and kind of not necessarily outsource, but like move the different tasks?
Yeah, no, I get you. It was kind of like the difficulty uploading so frequently. And like my videos were doing very, very well, really, really well, and I think I could be a lot more popular now than like I could be a lot more popular, and I should be. I squandered a lot of like opportunity and took my foot off the gas pedal when I was in a good position, when I was very favored in the algorithm, and etc. So once you're favored in the algorithm, you kind of have to keep going.
Yeah,
because it's hard to get favored.
Kind of hard to get
at one
back
point
into
I was. Yeah, at one point I was really favored, and it wasn't necessarily tied to the group, and it was when the group was really growing, but I was doing some solo content, and I think it was nearly like 40 million views in a month or something like that, 30 to 40 million views, and a lot of that was solo, and I'm like, oh shit, like I need to keep doing this. But then I don't know, my life just went to shit that year. I forget, it's all a blur. And if I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't be able to break it down for you.
No, it's cool. I won't ask, but I see.
What was the question again?
Oh, when did you decide to relieve the editing work and move that?
So that was around the time I did it, when I was realizing that my own personal mental health was stopping me from working, and then also trying to upload, and the videos became longer as well. So I got better internet, I got a better computer, and YouTube was starting to put mid-rolls, and there was lots of different adjustments on YouTube. They were rewarding longer videos and people watching longer videos. and we were playing for hours and hours and hours, but yet we would only use a few minutes of the video footage, and it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. There's so much more here. We should be making longer videos. And so everyone kind of agreed at the same time in my group, hey, how about we turn our videos to be longer? How about we all stop doing the 3-minute videos and do the like 10-minute videos? And everyone literally decided. I remember when we all made the decision, it was actually during GTA 5. So before then, we would play Call of Duty and turn everything into a 3-4 minute video, maybe 5. But once we played GTA 5, it was so much fun and there was so much content. Everyone had so much. It was like 3-minute videos don't make sense. And we were seeing other people upload like 10, 12-minute videos, and we're like, hey, they're making more money, they're getting more views, it's clearly favored by the algorithm, and we have so much footage, so why not? And once we made that pivot and change from going 3-4 minutes to 12 minutes, I remember the decision was made when we were outside of the airport fence in GTA 5, if you know where that is. It's where you go up that little ramp. We were on the road pretty much there. And that's I remember being in the call, and that's what it was. I have a weird memory. I either remember things really well or not at all. But
okay.
But yeah, that was the decision. And then with that decision, I was doing it for a lot, obviously, and I was doing fine. But I found that between all the playing and all the editing, I kind of didn't have any personal life. And at this stage, I had picked up a good bit of like pocket change. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll have other people edit. And so, yeah, I did get people to come in and edit. But initially, I would cut all the videos and they would just edit afterwards. And then eventually I was like, no, I'll just have them cut. And yeah, now I have like 4 channels going on 5 channels. And in total, the amount of editors I'll have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll have 6 editors.
Wow.
I have 6 editors now, pretty much.
That's crazy.
6 editors and like 5 channels.
But
well,
I mean,
not
really
including my brother. My brother's an editor too. He does the clips and shorts. So like 7 if you want to count him.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty cool to think about, but also like crazy at the same time. But thinking about like, you know, really when it comes down to like use of your time, it's like when you got that big of things to, you know, push out, you really do have to
yeah, it wouldn't be possible to do everything that I'm doing if I just decided, I'm going to do all of this. Like, when you start off, you're going to be a one-man army. You won't have the money to kind of pay editors fairly and thumbnail artists fairly. And I do see people on Twitter getting exposed for trying to pay like $5 for a thumbnail and like $20, $50 for like a shit ton of editing. And I'm like, bro, and I look at their like views and everything they're getting, and I'm like, you can't be getting like 5K views and paying for an editor. You cannot afford it. You cannot afford it. You have to, like, I wasn't getting an editor until I had hundreds of thousands of views, millions and millions of views. And the videos were getting like lots and lots of views. That's when I got an editor. I didn't get I was one-man army until that point. And everything's kind of like built up over time. Yeah. So it's you kind of have to scale things up and work from the level you're at. Right. And trust people, find the right people. Because I've gotten bad editors before. I've gotten good editors. Like, trust me, there's as many good editors as there is bad editors. But most importantly, the things that I've noticed that are crucial to someone, is there someone I should hire? And not only that, but is this someone I should keep around? Is like, who are they as a person? Yeah, is far more important than what they can do. Because you can have someone that's really good at editing, really good potential, really good humor, you know, and all that stuff. But they have a lot of, let's say, they have a lot of personal life stuff going on. And that's everybody has that going on, right? Everybody has something going on in their personal life that makes doing things outside of that, like work, etc., extra miserable. Yeah. And and so I understand, but at the same time, when you are running a YouTube channel and a lot of people are clicking on your videos to really enjoy them and whatnot, you can't, like, I can't show up on Monday and Tuesday, record with Vanos and be miserable. I can't do that. Yeah. I have to be like, all right, I close the door, I turn on my computer, and then I'm there to entertain, I'm there to have fun, I'm there to enjoy myself, and I switch off and switch on. That's it. But if you're working for someone, I understand, you know, life can be difficult. I've been there, done that. But I think there has to be like a button that you could be like, all right, I'm leaving that at the door. So if I'm sitting down and editing for, this video, let's say the video takes 10 hours to edit, I'll put like 5 hours in or something. Like how I used to do is I'll cut the video and then I'll take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go in and I'll do some like unique edits, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll do some more unique edits, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll be done, kind of render and go sleep.
Yeah.
And that's how I would do it. So there needs to be like, you need to kind of like understand yourself and be able to separate your work from what's bothering you
Mm-hmm.
to do your work well. Otherwise, you'll constantly be like drained and pulled back, and your work will just,
Well, the quality will
what
suffer.
you produce will be hurt because of it. And that's not your intention, but it's the result. So I've had some editors like that, and you kind of have to let them go.
Yeah.
And so I like the people that I have now, and the main reason I like them is they will listen to what you're saying, they will respond to feedback, they will improve if where need be, so it doesn't become something that is stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically the two worst things that can happen to an editor is getting burnt out or getting bored.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest problems. And so if you're not always trying to improve, your editor is going to get bored. But then again, if you have an editor and you're uploading 7 days a week, edited content, I've heard of people doing this. And then you give that to one editor, and literally day in, day out, all he does is wake up, edit, eat, go sleep, wake up, edit, upload, eat, go sleep. I've seen YouTubers do that. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, this man needs a life. This is a person, not just some machine you're chugging content to.
Yeah.
So, so for me, the reason why I have so many editors is that I space it out so they don't get burnt out.
Sure.
And that's kind of one thing that I've done. Like, everything is structured in a way that the people that work for me can have like a good experience, generally speaking. And most of the time, if there isn't a good experience, it's either down to what they've got going on in their lives, or it could be me, like I haven't learned something that I need to learn, or it could be like because what I've noticed, like when you have, let's say 7 people working for you, 10 people, whatever it may be, everybody can only work from how good you are. So if you're kind of slacking, you're not communicating, like not sending the footage, not recording the footage, not communicating your vision for the content, if you're just kind of like being lazy about everything, everyone that works for you will pick up off of that and also be lazy.
Yeah,
so
you kind of...
The standard of your content is completely reflective of what you set it to be.
Right. I was just about to say, set kind of the
but you have to do that with
the...
yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to set the standard with yourself first before you can expect anyone else to want anything as good as what you want. So if you don't want it, why should they? They're like, at the end of the day, if I was paying an editor $10 an hour, $10, let's say a video, not an hour, but let's say $10 a video, they're going to be like, well, this ain't worth my time. What the fuck? I'm putting a full day's work into this, and this $10, this won't worth my time. And as much as they like me, as much as they think the content is fun, as much as the product may be like fulfilling, in terms of like, oh, it's really nice to see people enjoy my edits. At the end of the day, they're going to be like, I'm moving to somewhere else because they pay me more. And it's not their fault. It's like people like need money to pay for bills and whatnot. So that's kind of like, but that comes at a price, if like someone's giving you X amount that you agree upon to do X amount of work, it's very important that you're like committed. Yeah. And that you care about what you're working for. But again, easier said than done. But I really think it boils down to the having the right people and be willing to take out the wrong people. Yeah. So if the wrong people are around, give them a chance. If someone's having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, it can happen. You give them a chance. But if it's something that goes on for months and months and months on end, then you have to start thinking to yourself, okay, I've given them a lot of chances. Mm-hmm. I've talked to them. I've been honest with them. I've been patient. I've been, I've changed things around on my end to accommodate them. You've done everything. But then it's like, there's nothing more I can do. I have to, I have to tell them, good luck.
Yeah.
And so that happens. That can happen. I think everyone who does develop from the stage of where I was, which is one-man army YouTuber, to kind of multi-channel and small business, I guess you can consider it, style, where it's like, thankfully it's my two brothers that are on my team. It's me and my triple brother and my older brother. And my older brother is my manager, and my triple brother is like my assistant, and kind of like handles a lot of the work with the thumbnail artists and the editors.
Gotcha.
And like reviews the content. So like whenever we're uploading something now, we're like reviewing it, and it just keeps everybody kind of like on their toes. So there's a lot of aspects to it. There's a lot of aspects, and there's a lot of like unseen work that goes into it.
Yeah.
To try and
that kind
make
of
sure like the video that comes out is a good quality. But the biggest thing is having the right people, because you need to feel like you have the right people around you, or the ability to get those people and find them and keep them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you'll never hand off any work.
Yeah.
I know a lot of YouTubers, and some of them are super big now, where they never wanted to get editors, ever. Never wanted to get editors. They thought it was like the stupidest thing in the world. Like, you're insane. No one will ever be able to edit as good as you. Blah, 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 blah. And now they all have editors. So it's like, and it really boils down to, I cannot trust people. That's what it's
I feel
nothing else.
I feel like
it's
that
nothing
is
else. It's just they have a very
down to.
distrusting personality.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Because if you need someone, and you put yourself out there, and you have kind of an ability to, like, I just tweet and look for an editor, and I'll find an editor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's other ways. There's lots of different ways. And so as long as you're eager to find someone to bring into the fold to help and be a part of the team, you'll find them. But if you're closed off to that, and you've very like a distrusting nature, you will always be that kind of lone wolf, burnt out entrepreneur that essentially had a big spurt in YouTube because they had a good year. They uploaded every week, they uploaded good content, and then boom, they get burnt out because they've been doing everything themselves for like 1, 2, 3 years, and they never had the ability to trust anyone else to replicate their content and improve upon it. And then they die off. Boom, dead. Channel dead. Where did this guy go? Where did that guy go? Yeah, they burnt out, had a mental breakdown, and they don't ever want to come back again because they feel like they're either too rusty, they don't know what to do. They probably feel like they're living in the shadow of their former selves, and seeking former glory.
Yeah.
And it's really just down to accepting that, in all brutal honesty, when I was editing my videos, I wasn't that special. Like, the videos weren't special because I was editing them. If someone can do the same thing, it's like if I'm making a cup of coffee, if I'm making a latte at Starbucks, me making the latte isn't really that special. There's going to be someone else that can make the latte too.
Yeah.
So it's like, kind of like, you have to put your ego aside to say, okay, you know what? I don't need to handle all my emails. Someone else can do that. A manager. I don't need to handle all the editing. Someone else can do that. An editor. I don't need to handle all of the thumbnails. A designer can do that. So it's like adjudicating roles that you don't necessarily need to do, but you hold a part of, I don't trust people to do this good enough, or it's an ego thing too. Like, oh, I'm just going to do it better than anyone else. If I try to train someone to do this, they won't get it, and it'll be frustrating, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
They might just not be a good people's person. So you find that a lot on people that grow on YouTube. They kind of like, if they never develop beyond the one-man army mentality, they'll always fall to the burnout, or be very limited in terms of like how much they upload. Like, they'll upload like once every 6 months or something, because it's like,
now kind of speaking
the idea of editing and doing a whole video is daunting.
Yeah, speaking a little bit on that, like making that decision to branch off and have somebody else do that, like, obviously it is the best move, especially when you're aiming at a big upload schedule, or just overall freeing yourself up a little bit to further grow.
There is benefits to not doing it. Your content can come across more authentic.
That's true.
But at the same time,
was it,
if you're training them correctly, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Was that any bit of a difficult decision, like giving that up? Because like you said, I mean,
for
it
me,
is
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Gotcha.
No.
Did you?
For other people though, it took a long time for them to be convinced. Years.
Yeah.
I know people, it took them years before they thought an editor could do what they do. Years. And then they get an editor and they blow up.
Well, and not necessarily looking at it from a standpoint of like giving up control, not thinking anybody can do it better or whatever.
Giving over of control is a problem. It's a big mental block,
But coming from the standpoint of like personally, I'm not like looking for I don't do a large upload schedule. It's just kind of, I mean, I aim for, once a week or something, but it's whatever.
It depends on the content.
Right.
Depends what you did that week.
But like, I do enjoy the editing process. So was there any part of you there that was kind of like hesitant on giving it up? Or did you just kind of reach a point where it's like, no, this is the best move.
I was doing it enough to the point where I was like, I won't miss this.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, me learning how to edit has helped me know the experience of an editor. So I didn't just start YouTube with a shit of money and get a bunch of editors and they did everything for me. I worked to get to the point to get an editor, to have that kind of luxury, which it is a luxury.
And then you kind of know how to critique them.
I know
too.
I know how to be honest with them and say, look, I can tell this video didn't take you that much time because I know how much editing takes. I know how much time it takes. So
Gotcha.
You could have done better here. Why didn't you do better? Like, I'll see a video and I'll see it's below par, and then I'm like, what's the reason for this? Like, did something happen? Was there? And things happen. Family emergency, accident. Like things can happen, and you're like, okay, look, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the video. You just take today to relax and do whatever you need to do. Look after whatever you need to look after, and we can upload the video another day. Don't worry about it. So I've done that a good few times, where you kind of have to give people leeway. You can't rule with an iron fist, but at the same time, you can't be a doormat. So you got to find the balance between the iron fist and the doormat, essentially.
So just as a heads up, I'm pretty close to being at the end of like the questions I have, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, we were talking about how you got to the point of giving the editing work, outwards, and the thumbnail creation to other people, to just the fact that you have a manager, stuff like that. What exactly is like your current workflow? Like, how do you go about figuring out what kind of content you're going to do? And like how does it go from an idea to an upload? If you, I guess it depends on the channel too. But
generally speaking, like the way my content works is more retroactive. This looks like it could be fun to play. Let's play it, and then see if there's an overall theme to the video or a highlight moment, etc. Okay. And then base the thumbnail and title on that. Like what you're more referencing would be kind of like what Diesel does, where he has the idea and then he creates what's needed to complete that idea. Whether is what I do is more like retroactive. I'm gonna go hop in. Like we might have a vague idea. It's like, hey, we're gonna play Call of Duty Zombies, but it's gonna be a Taco Bell map.
That's true.
Then, you can probably assume the thumbnail is gonna be a Taco Bell style thumbnail. Or maybe something funnier happens in there. Maybe Wildcat says something ridiculous, or Vanna says something edgy. You don't know. But it's like, what do you think would be like? But on the React channel, it's different. On the React channel, we prep. We try and package things and prep things. So it's like, one recent package was the banned AI Twitch streamer. So we did that. And that was a very different video, and we kind of learned a lot from it. But we package stuff there. So like Vanna's crew meeting for the first time, stuff like that. So we get that all researched. We have a researcher now, actually. So not only do we have thumbnail artists, editors, and managers, etc., whatever, we have a researcher that researches content, compiles it, and gives it to us to react to, so that when we react to it, our impressions are fresh and clean and kind of like genuine, instead of like forcing it and pretending like we've seen it for the first time or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense, because especially like with the type of content, obviously it'd be more of like.
So with the React stuff, it ties well, and usually it will. Yeah, usually we'll do some themed stuff.
Okay, so
on the React, it's a really good channel, the React channel. It's very high quality.
I guess
proud of it actually.
Yeah. I guess maybe restructuring that then, instead of the planning or whatever, since it is variable on the type of content. From recording to publish, how would the general steps go?
Oh yeah. So you're just skipping the idea step.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it depends on the content. Because obviously, if it's just let's record a game and see where it goes, kind of thing, versus So.
And sometimes we might record stuff and it doesn't go well, and then it's like, I don't want to upload this. And some people won't, but I'm kind of the guy that I like to salvage everything. So
yeah.
So I'll use it. Other people don't, and I'm like, look, it is what it is. But I probably will cut back a little bit on that, depending. But I do repurpose it. So I might take, like, let's say we record something that goes really bad and we really don't like it, and we're done within 30 minutes, or we just so happen to not get the game working, but it's kind of a funny process. Then I'll repackage it and repurpose it. Instead of deleting it, I'll like stitch it with like maybe 3 or 4 other instances where that happened, and then that will become a kind of like a bloopers behind the scenes video. Where it's like, what's it like, experience wise to do, YouTube when it's failing, when you're not getting like a good result from what you're playing.
Yeah. So
that would be like a very specific instance where it's like being a little bit like creative and innovative and whatnot. But
yeah.
But generally speaking, standard wise, I'll just say like with Vanos, we will play, let's say, Tuesday. Okay, we usually plan the day before what we're going to play the next day, and well, we're not good at planning, but that's I'm gonna leave it at that. But and then we'll go in and we'll play, and let's say we play at like, I don't know, 1 p.m. PST or something, right? And it could be Mario Party. Let's do Mario Party. I haven't played that in a few months. Let's do some Mario Party. Hop in, we'll get a couple of people, everyone gets ready, dust off their Switch because no one ever has it set up, and then go play some Mario Party. And you record that, it's about maybe an hour and a half, give it to the editor. Editor usually, an editor might have a few days, or he might not have a lot. So let's say we play Tuesday. I would like, to upload that. We have a 2-day rule. I think it's dumb as shit, but whatever. We have a 2-day rule. We have a 2-day rule that was invented because I kept uploading footage way quicker than everybody else. Because I was obsessed, and I would just fucking straight away after recording, I would put it into editing software and edit it and bang and get it up the next day and stuff like that and blah, 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 blah. Whereas some of the other guys, would be slower, and then people like Vanos, they would just be much higher quality editing than mine. So then because of that, he would take much longer in that regard. So then they created this stupid 2-day rule, which I despise, and not too much. Like I'm accustomed to it. I don't care, but I still think it's dumb. I think it holds us back. But it's like an old idea. It doesn't work anymore. Not with the way YouTube is now. But either way, I'm kind of glad it's there because it does give my editors more time to edit the footage. So let's say I record Tuesday, I'll send it to them pretty much straight after I finish recording, upload it. And then they've got like Wednesday and Thursday to work on the video and get the video up Thursday.
Gotcha.
That's generally how it works. So it is a kind of short amount of time, but at the same time, it's not something that is like unachievable at all. Like, it's not like I give it to them and they have like 12 hours to get it up. Now, I probably have done that before. And then like I do what's like a short-term payment. So it's like, hey, since this is a very short notice video, I'll pay extra. That kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
Generally speaking, I'll like play Tuesday. We'll play maybe 2 or 3 things, and that'll go up Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll play Wednesday, and might play 1 or 2 things, and that'll go up Sunday and Tuesday. So the editors kind of get stuff spaced out. And there's 2 editors. So one editor gets a video for Thursday and Saturday and Tuesday, and the other editor gets it for Friday and Sunday. And that's pretty much how it works.
Okay.
That's just for the main channel. Then the Plus channel, I record Monday and Thursdays and sometimes Fridays. And we upload 3 times a week on the Plus channel. So the Monday video might go up, Thursday. the Thursday recording will go up Saturday, and then like a random recording in the middle of the week will go up next Tuesday, something like that. So we have a strict kind of upload schedule on the Plus channel: Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'm moving it to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but that's what it has been up to now.
Gotcha.
And then the React content, generally Brian and I, we try to record 2 things on Mondays, but we might only end up recording 1, mainly due to the fact that I am in Ireland and the time zone difference is difficult. So yeah, we do end up like maybe just recording 1 thing on Monday, and then we'll record the other thing on Wednesday, and that will go up, generally speaking, Thursday and Sunday. So and then the Shorts channel is just like, my brother runs that completely, cuts the clips, finds the clips, and posts them, and that's kind of at his own discretion, because he's good enough at it as is that he's got it down. Like, I trust him. He knows exactly what he's doing.
It's awesome.
So that's kind of like the the general flow of the channel, and thumbnails are made on the day that the videos are supposed to be posted, generally speaking. Okay. So if the video is being posted on Thursday, contact the thumbnail artist Thursday. Sometimes the day before, but usually the day of, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
It would be nice to be a bit more organized with the thumbnails, but it's tricky when the editors haven't finished editing and they don't know exactly what's in the video.
Sure.
Like, we kind of like, it's, I don't know, it can fluctuate. Like, some videos you really know what the thumbnail and title is going to be when you're done, but other videos you're kind of like, and then you kind of figure it out on the day, which I don't think is good either. That's another thing that needs to change. It's too indecisive. It causes too much indecisive and mediocre thumbnails and titles because of the lack of, I don't know, I guess thought through, if that's a word. Thought through.
I at least get what you're going for, if it's not a word. I see, though. Now this one, the next question is kind of more of like a personal curiosity, I guess, than one that I don't know, whatever. But I know
it is a word. It is a phrase.
Oh, it is?
Thought through.
Thought through.
Yes.
Cool.
Thought out. Hey. Thought out. Oh, I think it's supposed to be thought out.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be thought out instead of thought through. Thought out makes, I've heard thought out before. That makes sense. Yeah. So thought out. There we go. Sorry, it was bugging me.
No, you're good. So on a couple of occasions, or probably more, I don't know, but yesterday being one of them, you've mentioned that you're Christian, and if I'm not mistaken,
I'm pretty
Catholic.
I'm pretty Christian, to say the least. Catholic.
Okay.
I'm probably one of the most Catholic gaming channels. You wouldn't believe it, but
where's that category?
I'm a big Catholic. Yeah. Where's them Catholic gamers at, huh?
But how does your faith kind of factor into your workflow, if it does, or overall just mentality on YouTube, or the process?
My faith and my kind of like relationship with God is definitely hugely important to my work. I don't think I'd be doing YouTube if it wasn't for it, to be honest. I would have quit, 100%. I think I would have quit because for me at least, without God, and then the idea of what does the world mean without God, it is such a miserable nihilistic cesspool. And I've been there before, because once I came into money, my relationship with God changed, because I grew up really poor. So once I came into money, got my own house, everything paid, I get food whenever I want, all this other stuff. I had all my needs met, and I got to the point where I was so engrossed in YouTube, and that was the thing I was good at, and I'd work hard at it, and I'd be really good at it. So I had something that would kind of feed the ego, you know what I mean? And then I had something, and then I had all my other needs met, and I had, money to keep me comfortable and stuff like that. I completely kind of lost contact in terms of, thinking, not really thinking about God, but kind of like feeling like I don't need God. So I wouldn't really pray. I wouldn't really go to mass. It would be, it would be very lapsed. It would be lapsed. It's like, there's a term like lapsed Catholic. I would have been that. If I'm looking back, thinking about it, I would have been that. And so that changed. And what I noticed is that, like, once I had that mentality, oh yeah, I don't need God for anything, I got everything covered. Once I got to that part of my life, ironically enough, around that area in which my personality changed, I noticed that, like, mentally, even though I had all my needs met, and I was in a, you know, like a very favorable position in terms of wealth and fame and notoriety and social interaction, and at least online, I was still, like, incredibly miserable, like so miserable, like, and like I couldn't enjoy food. It was just that miserable. Like it was pretty shit. It's starting to come back to me now, but I was, and so then, like, I was like, this is weird. I have a life that everybody dreams of, but yet I'm just chronically miserable right now. And this went on for about, I don't know, maybe a few years or something. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't count the days. Let's just say that. I don't know when it started, but I do know when it ended. And so basically, once I discovered, you know, exactly what God is and how close God is as well, he's not just there to help you when things go wrong. He wants to be actively a part of your good days and your bad days. And stuff like that. So once I kind of learned that, you know, hold on, I'll challenge. We're getting distracted here. And once I learned that, it definitely changed my mindset a lot. And I started thinking more about the importance of everything that I was doing, because I really felt that, I guess, a lot of what I was doing wasn't that important. Like, if I wasn't around, there'd be another gaming YouTube channel. Like, who gives a shit, right? If I'm not around, someone else is going to just subscribe to someone else. They're going to, oh, there's no video from Nogla in my sub box. Okay, I'll just scroll down a little bit further and find someone else. Like, I'm not that special. I'm not that important. If I was gone tomorrow, a lot of people probably wouldn't really give a shit. They would care, but they wouldn't really care. They'd move on the next day or the next minute. And so I really found that a lot of what, like, even the money and all that stuff, just really superficial. And yeah, so I guess a bit of a mid-20s life crisis or whatever. Gotcha. Early 20s, which is kind of actually what happens for most people. That's why you have so much depressed, you know. It's like, before it was a joke, you know, all the teenagers would be depressed, but now it's all the people, young 20s, that are depressed like teenagers. So so it's a whole 10 years of it these days. But, you know, a lot of that is largely due to, like, social media or whatever, but that's another discussion. But once I realized the larger importance to life and how God ties into that, it definitely helped me with my work a lot, because it made me realize, you know, there's a little prayer a friend of mine told me not too long ago. Well, it feels like not too long ago, but it was a long time ago, actually. I feel like I actually remember. I've been saying this a long time, actually, but I say it at the end of my prayers. So I usually have some morning prayers. If I forget them, I say them in the afternoon. But what the end of the prayers go something like this. I got to remember now, because usually I say it in order. Oh, yeah. So it's, oh, Jesus, I dedicate my day to you. I dedicate every joy, sorrow, frustration, every minute of my work, so that no time is wasted. And someone told me about that prayer, because I asked them to pray for me. And they're like, yeah, okay, I'll pray for you. And then when they were done praying for me and they came back to me, they're like, okay, say this prayer. It'll be good for you. This will be a good prayer. And so, even though it's not very long, it made me think a lot and made me realize that, you know, even if I'm, you know, absolutely miserable that day, I'm going to work. Because before, 1 second, I'm challenging this. So before, if I had a bad day, I just wouldn't work. I wouldn't work. I'm not going to show up. I'm not going to record. But I could have the worst day of my life, and I'm going to show up and record. So it's like, that's what, when I said to you earlier, I goes, I should be way more successful. I've squandered so much. I should be way more successful. The reason why I said that was because of this problem where if I'm having a bad day, my whole day shuts down. But even for me now, if I'm having a bad day, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's a bad day, whatever. I'm still going to try and, I'm not going to allow myself to get completely shut down and waste my day. So, you know, so I like that prayer a lot. And it's kind of like, it's given like importance to my day. I feel like it makes my day important because it's tying my day to God, and you know, for me, there's nothing more important than God.
Yeah.
So it's been a massive difference. Like if I don't know anyone around me that's running 5 YouTube channels, and has a child and a fiance and travels from 2 different countries. So
yeah, it's a lot to.
I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone.
Divine help there.
yeah. Well, but so yeah, no, God is super important, and life I got a lot tougher. Life, you know, life is tough here and there, but I got a lot tougher through my relationship with God, and I'm definitely a lot more capable of a lot of things. And then a big part of it, funnily enough, is having a good relationship with God and understanding the value that God places on me, and God being the most valuable thing to me, person to me, then kind of solidified my confidence. So if someone comes to me, let's say I have an argument with a coworker or a family member or something like that, and before, you know, I'd brood over it and I'd be, you know, really, really kind of strung up, you know what I mean? Really bitter, really resentful.
Yeah.
And just I'd be like a dog with a bone. I couldn't let go, you know, and I'd have to bite down until I crush it and I'm right. Now I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if I'm right. I don't care if I'm wrong, or it's whatever. You think that's fine. Moving on. And it could be the most important person in the world to me. You know, saying like some hurtful stuff. But then, you know, and everyone's done it. You know, I've said hurtful stuff to people. Everyone's hurt someone close to them. If you think you haven't, then you probably have a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just not aware of it.
So, yeah, anyone that says, "Oh, I've never done anyone close to me wrong," you're probably the person they talk about the worst behind your back. I don't want to be mean, but that's probably true. And so,
kind of like that old thing where it's like, if you don't have that one friend in your friend group that's you know, a little bit intolerable or something, you're probably that friend.
Yeah, but they're completely on, like, they have no self-awareness how annoying they are.
Yeah.
And I guess I was a little bit like that. But other people are too. I think everyone has that kind of person in them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they're a complete outcast and they isolate themselves in every way, shape, or form. Then you could probably get away with saying, "Oh, I don't hurt anyone." But you also then have to run into the problem of, well, if you just lock yourself away and stick to yourself under extreme isolation, you're also hurting people by omission. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
You could have been there for someone, but you decided you wanted to be there for yourself.
Yeah. So you're missing
My
out
friend's
on
in need, they're
so.
having a problem. Yeah. Sorry, I don't deal with other people's problems. It's too much drama. I'm not going to listen to you. But they're having a genuine problem. And it's like, you know, people will look for someone to comfort them when they have a problem, but be very slow to comfort someone else if they see them having a problem.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so yeah, God definitely helped construct a lot more confidence and helped me kind of take away the power of the punches that people might have, you know, towards me, if that makes sense. So I definitely roll with the punches a lot more. And that's, you know, that's why I can just go on Twitter and just be like, all right, I don't give a fuck, you know what I mean, and say whatever I like. And if people disagree, I don't give a shit. Every time I post something Christian, there's like always a thread of atheists just God, and I'm like, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
And there's no point arguing either.
No.
So that was one thing that
just
changed a lot. Yeah, pray for him, you know, but more often than not, just leave him alone.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I don't pray for them unless their lives seem really miserable, and then I might. But if it's just a regular edgy atheist, I'm like, his life is probably not too bad, but not that good either. He's got a bit burnt by religion, and then has a, you know, has a chip on the shoulder. But everyone has their own kind of like time.
Gotcha.
The timing aspect, just because the timing for me was in my 20s doesn't mean that's going to be someone else's. Someone's timing might be the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Some people won't change their mind about God until their last breath, when it's final chance, So it's really up to each person to have their own decision.
Sure.
Free will. But ever since, if I ever make conscious decisions, to take time to consider God and in my life and in my daily aspect of life, I've never encountered a downside yet.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That's cool to hear. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll just move along because actually we've been recording for quite a while.
It's all good, bro.
I don't want to take up too much of your time.
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling.
Okay. But, no, that's really cool to hear. That was always, I don't know if it was just something that never came up in like watching your videos or what it may have been that I just never realized, but it's kind of, I always think it's cool, like, cause I'm also Christian, but I think it's cool that like when you learn that somebody is, and somebody knows God, it's kind of like they stick out a little bit more, and it's kind of like you view them in a different way. It's kind of like, I don't know, for example, I went to a community college and there was this one professor that I had always seen he was just walking with his head down, talking to himself and whatnot. And I was just like, okay, whatever, I liked him as a person. He had a cool personality and whatnot, but it was like, whatever. And then somewhere he ended up sharing that it was like when he's doing that, he's praying. He's just walking along and talking to God as he goes. And it was just like
focus. He doesn't want to get distracted,
right.
So he keeps his eyes down.
Yeah. And so I just like hearing that, I was like, I don't know, kind of viewed him in a different way. And it was kind of this kind of like respect in a way too. And I don't know, it's cool hearing that from people and hearing about their relationship with God and all that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like it's a humble kind of it's a very humble way to pray. He's not going down on his knees and
right. Yeah,
in the middle of the cafeteria for everyone to see for 12 hours straight to just show how holy he is.
Right. He's just going along his day,
it's not about how he's not worried about how he looks to other people. He's right. He's looking inwardly.
Yeah. So
in a humble fashion. But yeah, no, I agree. That's a very good example where someone that wouldn't be religious or spiritual, would look at that and be like, okay, you're wasting your time.
So the next like kind of set of questions, the last ones, are, I was like, I tried to organize this in kind of like a way that it flows, throughout the year kind of thing. I don't know. These ones, I wasn't quite sure where to put them. So they're just the ones that
all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Wanted to end on. But the first one is like, I guess somewhat aimed at advice, but put into a scenario that like were to be applicable. Let's say that your channel were to be terminated. Or just something were to happen where you were to need to start completely fresh.
I got canceled.
Yeah. Let's say that you made too many 9/11 jokes.
What would Nogla do if he got canceled? That's the question.
That's the question. Yeah. No. But either way, you had to start fresh, and in the state of where YouTube is today, how would you go about growing a completely brand new channel?
That's interesting, actually. Oh, that's a tricky one. I think for me, the same kind of like lessons I learned and things that got me successful when I started and up until now would still be applicable. It would just be the stage in which it's applied would be different. I still think, if I started again, one-man army, I have to do everything. I need a lot of free time. Like, I can't just be like, okay, I have a wife and 3 kids and a full-time job. Let's start YouTube. I'm like, okay, like, you can do that. That's really hard. That's super hard. Probably going to have to live off of 6 hours sleep. Every night. they're really, really difficult. And so if you are looking, like if I had to start at the age of 30, I think it would be very hard to start YouTube. I think YouTube is a young man's game. I don't think it's an old man's game. It's a young man's game. It's a young man, it's a teenager, it's a young 20s, where you have a lot of freedom, passion, youth, energy.
Yeah, it'd be definitely
it's a young man's
easier
game,
at that
really.
time in life.
A lot of the older people you see on YouTube have generally been there for a long, long time. And you don't see a lot of old people getting into YouTube and doing extremely well. Like, you just don't. So if I was to start at 30, to be honest, I probably wouldn't. I would just get a different job and do something else with my life. But if I was young again, in the climate that we're in now, I think I wouldn't change a lot. To be honest, there's not a lot I would change. The main thing that I would change is I would have done more solo content and gotten more comfortable with that. But at the same time,
like a solo kind of content perspective.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have been like solo, but just to have that, have that kind of like extra like stat, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you're a fighting character, you know what I mean? And like, let's say my teamwork is maxed out, you know what I mean? but my independent solo stuff is like, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, I would work more to make myself a more well-rounded kind of like a well-rounded kind of a personality rather than very group-centric. So right now I'm very much tied to the Vanos group, but I also have the Plus Channel group, and then I have the connection with Brian, which is the two of us, and that's something that I'm really excited about, because I feel like me and Brian have a lot of potential together, and through the React content, through the Let's Play channel, I feel like that's, for me, I feel like that's where my future is anyway. Like, that's where I see the long game. I see me and Brian 40 years old reacting to it.
Okay. Cool.
But I wouldn't change much. I would just work on other stuff. But I also know that who I was when I was 20, I wasn't ready for that. It was too scary and daunting to me, I remember the first time I did a face reveal, I wore a scarf because I didn't like my neck. I was insecure about how long my neck was. So I wore a big scarf to cover my neck, and it was in black and white as well because, again, I didn't want to be seen clearly. So the webcam was small, in black and white, with a big black scarf, and I was playing Slenderman. So that was it.
I see.
All of that decision making, I remember making those decisions, and I had all this kind of insecurities in my head about the way I looked. So then I'd be like, but I have to do this. So I would come up with things to convince myself, this will make the insecurity less and less and less, and blah blah blah, and bring less eyes to it. So it's more of like, if you can overcome a lot of your own personal problems, like fears, anxieties, insecurities, worries, negative thinking, a lot of that stuff, if you can work through a lot of that stuff and then understand the importance of, hard work, being humble, respectful of everyone that you kind of interact with, being able to, have a good laugh, be a good laugh to be around, being able to separate your personal life, because your personal life, doesn't matter how good it is, anything can happen to anyone. Parents die, X, Y, and Z, miserable shit happens to everyone all the time. But being able to separate that and have the the discipline and to be able to work without the motivation to work, all that stuff is very, very important. Like values and virtues that will automatically, if you figure out all that stuff, and then you're simply going into something that you enjoy and you're passionate about with potential, and you put hard work, you should generally do quite well. So I do think I'd be successful if I started YouTube all over again in this climate, but I think I'd be successful in a very different way. Very, very different in terms of the people I would be around, because my group is so unique. The Vanos group is really, really unique. that's one thing I love about our group, and I think why we have like stood the test of time so much in a very niche, specific category of comedy gaming. You know, a lot of other groups have branched off to streaming or IRL content, like the Sidemen. They branched off, like Vanos Group and the Sidemen. You know, there was a lot of, you know, at one point everyone was very close if you counted all the views and subs together and stuff like that.
Oops.
Oh, you got kicked.
Yeah,
I'll finish up. I'll wrap up. But they kind of pivoted to the more IRL mainstream kind of, you know, content, while holding on to mainstream gaming content, GTA 5, Among Us, etc. So they kind of pivoted in a really like good way, and that's something that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do in some way, shape, or form. But like in terms of just hanging out together as a group, IRL, like I wanted to do that stuff, but you know, a lot of people in the group like disagree in terms of personal disagreement, in terms of like, oh, it's just not something I feel comfortable with. And I respect that, you know, that's fine. I respect that. And so we've kept going where we're going in the gaming, and it'll be interesting to see how like things develop. I do think there's some changes coming, but you know, to the group, but I think people have to be like very open-minded and very eager to try new things, and not just try them and see if they work out and then dump them, but more be like how should I say, faithful towards the idea. So rather than, you know, their own kind of like notions of what, you know, what is good or bad, or what they feel like.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is like, it would be really nice if the group could have some, like, doesn't have to be all the time, and it doesn't have to be everyone, but it would be nice if there could be some sort of like, you know, IRL game objective style thing that ties well into what we already do.
Yeah.
But just have it be IRL and have it just uploaded on one channel and kind of be more of like a bigger project video. Yeah. And I think that would do really, really well, because we have a lot of creative people that can do interesting spins and twists to things. The potential is there. It's just really down to, you know, if the people are like willing for it. But for now, I think that will come eventually, but if you know, over time. But I think for now, I'm doing my thing and trying to grow like what I'm doing with Brian and React and the Let's Play channel. Yeah. But I think that's probably, those are the two main things I would do more if I restarted again. More solo content and more face content.
Gotcha. Also, sorry about that. I was like spacing out listening to you talk and like processing what you said, and then I just freaking missed like however many turns it was.
All good, dude.
I don't know if you want to.
I don't think people are watching at this minute for Uno gameplay anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if you want to rejoin and we finish up, or what you want to do. Yeah, but
sure.
Because sorry. And also again,
don't be sorry.
I know it's a lot later in the evening for you too, so I don't want to keep you from anything.
I'll be going to bed after this, but it's not a problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem.
I don't have much more. But yeah, I just sent you another invite. But okay. Now I know that you were talking a little bit earlier about kind of your realization with God's importance in your life and your relationship with Him, kind of being a darker time. Have you? In that maybe, but have you experienced a time of creator burnout? If
100%. Yeah.
And was it in that time?
Burnout. Like looking back, I've experienced burnout a good few times, but a lot of the burnout came from like things outside of the work. You know, just getting wrapped up in like people, you know, that I either got connected to or connected to me through family or whatever.
Okay.
And just getting wrapped up in things outside of work that kind of burnt me out more than the work itself. But I do remember vividly one time that I did get very, very burnt out on YouTube, and it was 1 year where I actually, I think, earned the most in 1 month. And I was working like crazy, and this is when I was doing most of the work still. And I came over to January and I was like, oh, dude, I can't, dude. My brain is fried. This is just like, the way I would compare it is you used to look at your work as like a really beautiful meal you get to sit down and enjoy, and you're just ready to digest it and do whatever needs to be done. And then the experience that it changes to is it starts to look like prison food. And when your work starts looking like prison food, it might be burnout.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Huh. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, well, you know, prison
Okay.
food, it's like, dude, this is gonna be like, I'm not gonna enjoy
this.
any second of this.
Yeah.
So once your work starts to look like prison food, you probably have burnout.
Is there any, I guess, advice with thinking like back on that you would give to recover from that kind of time of creator burnout, whether it be
Well,
like
to
what
recover
you've
from
done
burnout, you just have to do nothing for like a
To just
week or
take a
two
break.
or whatever. Yeah, just take a break for a few weeks, and I've done that a few times. But to avoid burnout, I would suggest the mentality of less but more consistent is better than a lot
yeah,
more,
Kinda
but
like
done a lot more inconsistent.
don't overdo yourself
That's what I
kind of
would
thing.
say. So it's like, okay, I'm really eager, I'm really motivated, I want to do it, I want to do everything, and the CPM's really high in December, I want to upload a lot, you know. That was kind of like my mentality. CPM's a lot, you know. And so I want to upload. And then you do see that now a lot, and then creators get burnt out in January, of course. And it's really down to just seeing that it's a marathon, not a race.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be your mentality. It's a marathon, not a race.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard
trying
that.
to strike the balance from a personal
Yeah.
kind of life and work life.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
And it could be a little thing. It'd be like, okay, like most of my life is work, but I have that little coffee shop I love to go to in the morning and get or lunch, and it's my little feeling of relief and release from it. But for me, Catholic, mass and adoration would be that for me.
Okay.
So it's like I go to mass and adoration, and there's no phone, no nothing, and no work, no family. Obviously, I'm praying, you know, for my family and work, but it's just, especially adoration. I love adoration. It's complete silence, and I love it. It's so good. So I just lose track of time there, and I love it. And it's something that I need to do more, but I get so wrapped up with everything, you know.
Yeah.
Still learning to not burn myself out and balance things.
Gotcha.
Trust me, like you may think it's like you know the story of the Bible where God is like, we're like a pot of clay in God's hands. There's some story in the Bible that talks about that.
It sounds familiar, but I certainly wouldn't be able to summarize it.
I'm bad with memorizing exact words and like things. So
Yeah, you might as well Google it.
I'll play something there, bro.
I was looking it up too.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Isaiah. Sorry.
Oh,
it's Isaiah.
okay.
There it is. I knew I wasn't crazy. And yet, O Lord, you are our Father. We are the clay, and you are the potter. We are all formed by your hand.
Okay.
So, that's been in my head recently, and it's like, I may sound like in this interview that I know everything and I've all figured out, but I'm really like, a lot of what I'm talking about, I have to relearn, and I kind of forget, and I have to relearn it. So you might feel like, oh man, you know, this and that, whatever. Like, oh, I'm slipping again. Sometimes you have to learn the same lesson over and over again. Like that's how children learn. They learn through repetition. And so, but I came across a TikTok of a potter working with clay, and it was a compilation of the times when he was working with the clay, shaping a pot, and it went wrong. And what I found really interesting, because I think God works very, very like strongly in parables and, you know, and analogies and stuff like that, to kind of evoke the imagination and the understanding through the imagination. And so essentially what I noticed is that nothing looked wrong, and then suddenly the pot would collapse. It looked like the pot was shaping up real nice, very, very nice. And essentially, like there was one where he was shaping the pot, and it was narrow on the bottom, wide in the middle, then went narrow again, and then went wide just to kind of be the top opening part of the vase. It looked like he was doing everything perfect, but he moved just one thing incorrectly, and the whole top of it broke off. And once the whole top broke off, he was like, all right, time to start again. So looking at it, a lot of it was once the pot that he was molding collapsed, it went to square one. So when we think of like that saying about Isaiah, how God is the potter and we are the clay, I think the reason for that is life will often feel like I'm going and I'm up and I'm up and I'm up and I'm shaping up really good and life is looking really good and I'm shaping up well here, and then boom, a little piece falls off and it collapses and you're back to square one. And I think a lot of life can feel like that, and I think it's like that for everyone. And I think it's, in some ways it's on purpose, it's God driven, sometimes it's our own fault, but generally speaking it's there to act as a lesson. Like the lessons you learn and the progress from starting from zero back up again, you learn a lot more going from the bottom to the top than just staying at the top.
Yeah.
You see it a lot in like combat sports. People who are at the top, they'll be at the top for years and years and years, but there will always be someone eventually that'll come in and beat them. So you never stay at the top forever. Even if you were the best, you never stay at the top forever.
Yeah.
And you'll always come down, but you learn a lot more as you go up. And so that's, I think, for me, if I look back in my YouTube career, it's been a lot of that, a lot of like up and down, up and down, and up and down. And now I feel like I'm in an era where I feel like I've learned to avoid the things that that I'm contributing that cause the clay to collapse, and I'm trusting God more and having God do more in terms of forming the clay to its essential completion.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to view it. There's the temporal, like short-term view, which is, the clay is your everyday. But then there's the long-term view, which is like the clay is your soul and who you are and all that stuff. And then there's like, that in between. It's like a spectrum. But yeah, that's kind of like, that's what came to mind.
Yeah.
Whenever, I don't know how we got here, but that's what came to my mind. I think you brought up God again. That's why.
Yeah, because I was talking about creator burnout, and it was tying back to that realization,
exactly.
And that whatever you want to call it.
And ever since I've like kind of put God more front and center, I don't think I've experienced extreme creator burnout much since then.
Okay.
Very little, nowhere near the levels before. Yeah. And I think it's just because God is building the clay, not me.
Yeah.
And the less I do, the better.
Okay. Yeah. What would you say your greatest success has been on YouTube? And you can define success in any way that you want. But what would you...
Probably longevity.
Okay.
I wouldn't even say views. I wouldn't even say like, hitting this amount of subs or getting that amount of views in a month or making this much money or blah, 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 whatever. I think the main thing that has been impressive about at least my career and what God has blessed me with and my group is the longevity, because the reality is there's not a lot of groups from 10 years ago that are still even existing
not at all
anymore. I see YouTubers that blow up in 1 year and then they drop off the face of the earth, and that's it.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're still here 10 years later is kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah. I
think us and the Sidemen are like, they're the only people I can think of. Game Grumps are still doing fairly strong as well. There's other people as well. Like there is other people. We're not the only exception. But within strictly gaming comedy, funny moments, we're probably the only group that's still around after 10 years.
Yeah.
I can't think of any anyway.
Yeah, I can't either. So
a lot of them are branched off into other things, or their groups are broke up, and then some of them stopped completely, and then others kind of... I shouldn't have done that, but... but yeah. Others did their own thing, branched off, and the groups dissolved, but... Yeah, I would say the most successful thing is the longevity.
Yeah, I'd say that's definitely a success. So, okay, yeah. Kind of similarly, is there a video or project or anything regarding YouTube that you are most proud of?
I think individually, I was very proud of my earlier work that I did just on my own when I one-man armied everything. And I know I wasn't like, if it was uploaded now, I would call it dog shit. But at that time, it was still fairly solid, and it was just something I put a lot of time and effort, and I loved it. I loved doing it, and I loved the process, so I loved the result. And when I was editing everything on my own, that was when I was most proud. When I was starting my own little channel, and I'd get like maybe 10 comments, and I loved replying to every single one.
Yeah.
It was, that kind of era was actually the most fulfilling and satisfying aspect, but I also understand that was a honeymoon phase too. It happens in YouTube and relationships, folks, don't worry. So I think once the honeymoon phase is over, obviously, different kind of mentality came around.
Sure.
And that's when I did need to rely on other people, and thankfully I had the ability to, make it worthwhile for people to do something for me and vice versa. But I guess recently, the thing that's made me the most proud is like branching off and doing the Plush channel and playing with very different people and doing very different content, and the React stuff. That felt to me a little bit like the good old days. And so that would be the most, taking risks and having them pay off is probably the most recent thing that has made me feel proud, or feel not. I wouldn't say proud, but more like kind of just put a smile on my face. I wouldn't say necessarily proud, but a smile on my face.
Okay. What would you say the craziest experience that you've had that has come out of the success on YouTube would be?
Well, before I started YouTube, having a family was like having a relationship, having a girl even talk to me or care about me.
Okay.
That would be like out of the realm of possibility before I started YouTube when I was 19.
Yeah.
But now I have a wife and child. Well, we're engaged, but we will be getting married in due time. And pretty much a wife and kid and a home, family life. I think that is the biggest difference than who I was. Like I couldn't really see myself. I couldn't really see the life I have now 10 years ago. I wouldn't be able to fathom it. And it's not so much the views or the videos or whatever that would surprise me. I think it's the fact that I just have a family and child and home and everything. Yeah. I'm driving a car and I'm doing all this adult stuff. that and then obviously learning so much about God, that would surprise me a lot too. That did surprise me a lot. So yeah, all that stuff, the YouTube stuff, nothing has surprised me.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. I have 3 more questions. That's all that's left. Ahead. And actually, one of them's more of a comment.
Of course.
But
Always.
Now, I thought it was kind of funny because in previous episodes, something I've done is I look at like the very first video and kind of try to gauge at a surface level, like the, kind of an overlook of the channel, but then I also do the most viewed video. So I sorted your channel by most popular, and I thought it was funny that the first most popular is the poo story.
Yeah.
And then the second is the poo story reanimated.
Yeah.
So it's like those are proof right at the
proof
top.
That remakes do well.
Yeah. But then the third one was your it was a song, it was Your Love. And I was kind of wondering, is music is that something you continue and currently do and pursue? Or I mean, kind of looking back at I guess how you answered
I do
earlier,
nothing.
But...
I do nothing now with music, like zero.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
All right.
I've lost actually quite a lot of songs over the passage of time and notebooks that I don't have anymore, where I have lyrics and chords all written out and stuff like that. And I've forgotten the melodies and the way the song sounds and the way the words sound. So I've lost a lot of songs over the years. That's the only thing that bothers me about my music. It's not so much that I don't do it now. It's more of like all the songs that I've made and I've forgotten.
Oh. Okay.
But I guess if you think about it, everyone's music will be forgotten one day.
Yeah. I mean,
Do
I
you
guess
know
that's
what was number one in 1982? I don't think so.
That's fair.
So everyone's music will be forgotten. I just forgot mine before anyone else could forget it.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
for me, it is what it is. But I mainly use music as an avenue to kind of reflect on things.
Sure.
And now that I have God, I feel no need for music.
Gotcha.
To be honest,
Okay. Yeah. No. Great. Good answer.
I'm like, I just reflect on life with God, and then be like, all right, I feel cool now. I'd use music to kind of vent frustrations or whatever's bothering me. But now I'm like, all right, God, there you go.
Yeah. I'll
right.
just talk to you.
Moving on.
Why do I need to do this?
That's it. Leave it
Gotcha.
with God. Move on. Doesn't bother me. Don't need music.
Okay.
Don't need to make music.
Well, last question.
I could if I wanted to, but I don't need to.
What was that?
I don't feel the need. I could if I wanted to, but I don't feel the emotional need.
Oh, gotcha.
And music's an emotional thing for me.
Yeah. Okay. Last question I have is, what does the future of your, and this expands to the multiple channels, look like?
Yeah.
Cool projects, long-term goals, things like that.
I'm not really like a project kind of guy where it's like, oh, I've got this big project coming. Oh my God, it's going to blow your mind. I'm like, well, everybody's kind of done everything at this stage. Like
Yeah, that's true.
And if anything that is a big project, it's just going to be a rehash of a different idea or whatever that someone else has done.
Yeah.
Either an old idea that's revamped or whatever. So I don't have any big projects. I do have something that's kind of coming on the main channel to increase the quality of the editing and the videos, which I am excited for. It's been in the pipeline for about a year or so. So I'm excited just for it to be finished and see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's one of the bigger risks I've taken, so I hope that it pays off. I believe it will, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of work that has to go into ensuring that it will.
Gotcha.
So the main channel is going to have some cool stuff coming. The Plus channel is kind of mainly just ticking away at kind of what it is now, but I want to do more variety content and try and have that do really well, and not just, I don't want like 2 or 3 games that I play in will do well. I want to, I want to be able to be flexible with the games and have them all do relatively well. And I like that group. I like that group a lot. And then in terms of the React content, I just want to stop getting age restricted and
I'd say it's probably a good
that's
goal.
the main goal there. But yeah, just I guess with the React content, I want to do more kind of like interesting topics outside of just TikToks and Vanis Crew related stuff. So I like the AI generated thing, and I like niche topics, but
Yeah.
I think moving into them and breaking them into more documentary style, where it's not just sit and react, it's kind of like React but also mixed with a little documentary-esque element to
A
it.
bit more of a story
that
to
will
it.
take a bit of like that'll take some like time to learn and do and develop, and it's very like video by video basis, but the React channel will generally like stay the same. Like we're going to do some meme streams, we'll do the the React content, and we'll do there's not going to be any massive changes with the React channel. It's just more about doing everything better and more effectively and more consistent and avoiding age restrictions. And then the Let's Play channel, that's happening soon. I don't know when you're uploading this, but it's happening.
Yeah,
It
probably
might be
take a
done
little
by
bit,
the time
but-
you get this up. Yeah, it's up by now then. And the main goal with that is to, again, just kind of branch off and have me and Brian kind of do our thing, because we mesh really well together. And so through that, I'm looking to enjoy. I wanted to kind of be an avenue where I can enjoy games that come out and that are kind of big games that come out and are exciting. Like it'll be like I really loved playing like Callisto Protocol with Terrorizer. He was watching me play, and I thought that was kind of fun. And when I watched him play, that was kind of fun, and it was enjoyable. It was very fun, laid back, and enjoyable. And I think the Let's Play will allow us to enjoy video games that kind of come out and they're exciting, like Hogwarts. Okay, all right, call me whatever you want, but I want to give that game a try.
It does look pretty
and
good.
see if I like it. And then like Dead Space Remastered, that looks really fun. And there's always like, the thing is, I've been so group orientated for such a long time. it's kind of nice to get excited about something that's solo, but at the same time, it's with Brian, so it makes it even more fun. And so it feels solo, but at the same time, it's not.
Yeah.
But it just opens up another catalog of games that people really do love watching and really love to enjoy. And, whether they watch it intently or leave it on like a radio show or a podcast, it's still like really, really exciting, because although it may seem like just more video games, for me, it's definitely very different than the strict gaming comedy content that's been happening for 10 years. Yeah. So that's when I tell you, that's where I feel like my future is in terms of like doing things. Now, not all of it, but that's where I feel like I can do this another 10 years. I feel like I could do React stuff and Let's Play stuff another 10 years. And I love the groups that I play with, the Vanish group and the Plus group. I probably could do that for 10 years too. But there is like a funness and a freshness to the React and the solo kind of, but co-op kind of channel.
Yeah.
So that would be my opinion. But
gotcha.
In terms of where I shine, and I feel like I'm the best version of me, it's within group settings.
Gotcha. Cool. Speaking of Let's Plays and video games, did you ever play The Last of Us?
I played the first one. I could not bring myself to play the second one.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of
it. I was like, in my opinion, is Final Fantasy VII Remastered should have won Game of the Year that year. I don't think Last of Us 2 should have won it. I will vocalize that on Twitter, needless to say. And I think they just bastardized the story and sacrificed it to the god of political correctness. Once the kind of like I think the whole allure of the first season, or not season, but I guess they're gonna do the same thing in the TV show now.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna love the first season and then hate the second. but it's just like I feel like the connection was so strong between the kind of father and the daughter, kind of that kind of connection, the father-daughter connection. I think people loved it so much, and it was so good. And then I feel like if they even just let him die halfway through the game, I would have been fine with it. But so early on, I was like, nah, this, dude. It's like, Lost, the show Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
They had, like, let's say 20 million viewers, right? I'm not exact here, okay? And I'm not remembering exactly either. So I'm not trying to be perfectly accurate. But I came across a YouTube video about talking about the Walking Dead and how the viewers plummeted. And the viewers plummeted. They were averaging, a really good amount. And they did still average pretty good afterwards, but nowhere near.
Yeah.
And so on the episode, it was a very good episode. It wasn't a bad episode. It was a very good episode. And I watched the scene. I was like, oh, man, this fiend.
You talking about the baseball bat one? The end of season.
Yes.
I can't think of what season it was.
And then once those two characters died, it was almost like too big of a hit for the audience. They were too hurt.
Yeah.
That they couldn't continue watching the show. And the average afterwards, instead of being 20 million, was like 12 million.
Jeez.
Which is a huge drop.
Yeah.
And so that's how I felt about The Last of Us 2. I'm like, no, he's too big of a loss. You can't do this, man. And the way he died too, I felt like it felt so unnecessary. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm in my echo chamber right now. But like once I saw that come out, I was like, I'm good, bro. And then there was obviously the scene of where the guy who made the game put him into the game to have sex with someone else. There was some weird shit going on. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? No, I want my wholesome dad and daughter adventure against zombies, you
I brought that up wondering if you had seen the show yet and what your thoughts on it were.
I want to watch the show, but I don't want to because I know where it's going.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
So part of me is like, it's going to get over. Like once he dies, I feel like it's just going to be round 2, but the TV show version.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
Part of me is like, I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
But I also know it's really good, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. It's like it's good, but I feel that dread.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Aaliyah's like that with me and Chainsaw Man. I know nothing about Chainsaw Man, but she's read everything that you can read about it, and she knows what's coming up, and I can just see the dread on her face. Like, not in a bad way, but just in like, oh my gosh, this was gut-wrenching, and it's coming up, and I'm like, shut up! Don't tell me anything, shut
Don't ruin
up!
it. Yeah.
I don't want it ruined, stop giving me hints, you know, and she's great. I love watching, like, anime with her and everything like that, and she's like an encyclopedia with some shit, bro. She's like a meme anime encyclopedia.
That's funny. Well, that's all my questions and kind of things. I don't know if there's any closing.
Yeah, hot take on The Last of Us 2 there, guys. Sorry about that. Hot take.
Is there any closing comments you got? Anything you want to add in that you felt? I don't know what it would be, but
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Not at all, man.
well,
I'm just wondering who's going to win this game of Uno, dude.
yeah, I was gonna say let's wrap up this game
Yeah,
and see
who's
how this
gonna
goes,
win?
and
That's
then
the real.
be done.
That's the real question.
But yeah, no, that was I don't know. Felt like we talked about quite a bit. I enjoyed hearing your perspective on some stuff, and I don't know. This is by far my favorite episode that I've done. I mean, obviously, like I said, I haven't done many, so I guess I'm not choosing
man.
from much.
Thanks, man. Wow,
but
dude.
no, I liked it.
Thanks, dude.
So truly, thank you for.
I am pretty amazing, aren't I? Thank you, dude.
Yeah, I'm just patting your back here. It wasn't all that great. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you have a content creator whose story you want to hear, please comment their channel name and I'll try to get them as a guest. If you are a content creator that would love to share your story, please fill out the linked request form in the description. Otherwise, we'll see you next time for another episode of Uno Mas.